World News from the BBC. Spanish media are reporting that the governing socialists have reached an agreement with the Catalan separatist party that would grant amnesties to those involved in a failed independence bid. In return, the separatists would clear the way for a government led by the acting Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez. The reported agreement is with Junts per Catalunya, whose founder, Carles Puigdemont, has been living in exile in Belgium after leading a push for independence in 2017. The British Home Secretary has stepped up her criticism of pro-Palestinian demonstrations in London. In a newspaper article, Suella Braverman again described those taking part as hate marchers. She also accused senior police officers of bias, as Braverman said they had double standards in handling protests, and some groups were allowed to break rules. She repeated a call to ban a pro-Palestinian rally planned on Armistice Day on the 11th of November. The Hollywood Actors Union says it's reached a tentative deal with studios to end a strike that's disrupted film and TV production for 4 months. The union said details of the agreement will not be made public until it's officially approved on Friday. The union's chief negotiator, Duncan Crabtree-Ireland, gave his reaction.
We finally have an agreement. It's an agreement that our members can be proud of. I'm certainly very proud of it. And that's what we always said we would do. We said we would only accept a fair, equitable, and respectful deal. And that's precisely what this deal is. So I think our members, as we are able to release more of the details of it, will look at them and say, this is something that was worth being on strike for. And our union has helped protect our future.
The oil company Shell is suing the environmental group Greenpeace for damages after activists boarded a Shell production vessel while it was in transit at sea earlier this year. Greenpeace says Shell is demanding $2.1 million, with the offer to reduce the claim substantially if its activists agree not to target the company's facilities again. BBC News.
Last Sunday, I sent my mum a video of a mob wearing stripy jumpers or smugglers' outfits or dressed as soldiers from various eras. They're carrying flaming torches, and some of them drag an enormous paper effigy of the British Prime Minister on a cart through the streets as the crowd chants, "Burn him." My mother was horrified. I tried to explain that the event I'd attended wasn't a hate march. It was Lewis Bonfire Night, a complex mixture of rebellion and tradition, of community spirit and exclusivity. The marchers commemorate religious rebels from almost 500 years ago, and also various events up to and including this year's most unpopular political decisions, hence the massive effigy. As far as anarchy goes, it seemed very good-natured. I wondered whether the chance to send your dislikes up in smoke and fireworks is massively cathartic. I'm Marnie Chesterton from the BBC World Service. This is Unexpected Elements. And I'm joined by the Unexpected Elements Society, which this week is the BBC's Phyllis Mwate in Nairobi, Kenya. Hello, Phyllis.
Hello, Manny. Hujambo.
Jambo. And from the frozen north of Canada, in Nunavut, we have reporter Moral Jamal. Hey, Moral.
Hey, good morning.
This is the show that looks for the science behind the headlines. So, yes, we take inspiration from a recent story and then we run with that far from news into the realm of science, which arguably is everywhere anyway. And this week's story is a classic tale of a billionaire with a strong opinion.
One of the richest men in India has sparked debate in his home country with a call in a podcast for young Indian professionals to work harder and longer.
Any extra work that people put in doesn't go into their own pockets, but to the pockets of, the wealthy who are getting even wealthier off of our labor. I just say that people are tired of this.
So, how hard is hard enough? Well, in India, the billionaire Narayan Murthy, who also happens to be father-in-law to Britain's Prime Minister, has aired his views that really, young people in India should be ready to work 70 hours a week. If a work day lasts longer than 12 hours, I get a bit grumpy. Murthy's talking about that level of graft every day, 6 days a week. Is that even sustainable, or does that just mean spending more time at your desk pretending to work whilst not really achieving anything?
Yeah, well, Mani, some people actually pointed out that most women worked much more than 70 hours a week. This is both the office and their homes.
I hadn't even been counting the work that you do that's kind of childcare or housework, but of course that all adds up.
Yeah, and other commentators mentioned the physical and mental health issues, that could arise from working that long. And actually, they might have a point. The World Health Organization report in 2021 said that working 55 or more hours every week is associated with a 35% higher risk of a stroke and even 17% higher risk of dying from ischemic heart disease.
Okay, so is it even worthwhile? Is there any science, Phyllis, showing that if you work 70 hours, you do twice the job of someone on 35 hours?
Well, I've been looking into this, and I found this study that was done by John Pencavel of Stanford University. He did this in 2014, where he attempted to quantify the relationship between hours worked and productivity.
Okay, and how do you do that?
So what he did was he used some historical data to look into it. So in 1915, and this is in the middle of the First World War, the British government did set up a committee to monitor working conditions for the people. And these were mainly women who were working in making munitions.
Okay, so munitions, ammo for guns and bombs, grenades, that sort of thing.
Exactly. So what they did is they collected a lot of data that can tell us what happens when people work long hours. And because the information is unambiguous and measurable, it's great data for researchers.
Okay, so when John Pencavel looked at that data, what did he find?
So what he found was that output per hour peaked at about 40 hours of work per week, and then it fell. Again, it falls sharply after 50-hour work week. Again, it falls off a cliff after 55 hours work week. It falls so much so that someone who puts in 70 hours actually produces nothing more with those extra 15 hours.
Wow, okay. So that seems to suggest that the employees and the employer are just wasting their time at that point.
That's what this study suggests, And the situation that the munitions workers were in was pretty unique here, but it does seem to point to the idea that working longer hours doesn't necessarily make you more effective.
So, how come we even have such a thing as a working week? Why doesn't the Unexpected Elements team work weekends? Here's a phone call with producers Ben and Alex, which might explain where the rot set in. And by rot, I mean work-life balance.
Hello.
Hi, Alex.
Oh, hi Ben, what's up?
Well, you didn't show up for work this morning. Are you all right?
I'm fine, thanks. It's just that since we were talking about work and productivity this week, I figured I would give the tradition of Saint Monday a try.
What is Saint Monday, Alex Mansfield?
Well, back in the mid-1800s, workers in many industrialised nations only had the Christian Sabbath day of Sunday off. This resulted in many workers taking the first half of Monday off as well to recover from the previous day's excess of relaxing.
Well, I bet employers were absolutely delighted about that.
Well, steady with the sarcasm, Ben, because in response and under pressure from union campaigns, some employers in the early 20th century, most famously perhaps the automaker Henry Ford in the US and pharmaceutical head John Boot in the UK, well, they began giving workers Saturday and Sunday off. It became the norm in many industries.
Oh, that was very progressive of them.
Well, interestingly, it was also a shrewd business move. Employees with more leisure time spent more money on products, as well as coming back to work refreshed in a good way and more productive.
But if Saturday replaced St. Monday, there's no reason for you to stay home today, is there? I mean, we need you here.
Oh, but Ben, I'm already feeling so much more relaxed and productive. I thought I'd better take the whole day.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'll see you in a bit.
Exciting new weekend land grab there. I used to live in the Netherlands where lots of businesses took Monday morning off. Listeners, is that a thing where you live? Should it be? You can get in touch with the show on unexpected@bbc.co.uk or WhatsApp us +44 330 678 3080. Morale, one of the problems I see with the 70-hour week is that an extra 35 hours of work would definitely eat into my sleeping time.
And you aren't the only one, Marnie. Elephant seals, when on land, like to sleep 14 hours a day.
Very sensible creatures. I'm just looking at a picture now, and I'm assuming they're called elephants not just because they're enormous, they're kind of, 10 to 13 foot in length, but also because some of them have these amazing dangly noses, a bit like an elephant's trunk. So they're just really big, sleepy animals.
Yeah, they're big, sleepy, cute, sleepy heads on land, but they only really live on land for 2 months each year.
And it's a different story when they're in the water?
Yeah, it is. They sleep less than any other studied mammal when in water. And when out at sea, they get under 2 hours a day. And even that isn't all in one shot. Instead, they sleep in 10-minute intervals.
So why does an animal that so clearly loves to sleep for the 2 months that it can get so little sleep for the rest of the year?
Yeah, that's a question that was asked by Jessica Kendall-Barr, a marine biologist at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography in San Diego. And her research was published this April and found that this extreme sleep pattern is the safest way that elephant seals have found to feed and rest, while also avoiding their only 2 notable predators, which are orcas and great white sharks.
So they don't sleep in the water because it's too dangerous. Is it also because they're mammals, so they need to keep popping up to breathe?
They do, but male elephant seals can hold their breath for longer than almost any other mammal, diving beneath the waves for up to 2 hours without surfacing for air.
Okay, so that napping schedule is definitely a danger avoidance tactic in that case.
Exactly, and it's not just for elephant seals. When Inuit in Nunavut and across the north go hunting, they don't sleep very long hours either, much like the animals that they're hunting.
Ah, so people are doing this too?
Yeah, they are. And when I was in Greenland last summer, we were staying with Mr. Akatu Jacobson, and he's a local hunter and the coordinator of the Climate Guardians program. And we were staying in the same accommodation, and he only slept about 2 or 3 hours at a time during much of the day.
Wow. I mean, that can't be sustainable. Like with the 70-hour week, you just get exhausted on 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because different times of day are good for different animals to hunt, right? So with wildlife, whales are less active at night in the summer months due to their prey being more accessible during the day. And the hunters, they're adjusting themselves according to the wildlife they're hunting.
Okay, and there's presumably a safety factor with, even though we're the hunters in this case, there's going to be that elephant seal safety factor too, right?
Yeah, there is. And in the summers here, it's 24 hours of daylight. So no matter where on land you are extremely visible to the wildlife, hint, polar bears, around you. So it's why traditionally Inuit traveled with sled dogs, because the dogs would warn them of danger.
So when you can't hide in the dark, it's best not to sleep.
Exactly.
Phyllis, could you survive on 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night?
I wouldn't. I'd be groggy and moody. Even 3 cups of coffee won't help. For me, it's double that. It's either 6 hours and above or none.
So, anyone out there coping on 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night? Arctic hunters, insomniacs, new parents, we want to hear how you're doing. You can get in touch on unexpected@bbc.co.uk, or you can WhatsApp on +44 330 678 3080. And if you're too sleep deprived to have got that number, don't worry, it's coming up later on in the show. Still to come, personal and planetary productivity. After this. We've come to the part of the show where I put you, our audience, to the test and ask you a puzzling piece of science trivia. On this week's Unexpected Elements quiz, I need you to put your best foot forward as I'm asking you which area of the foot has been found to harbour the highest diversity of fungi. Is it A, toenails, B, the heel, or C, in between the toes? Don't worry, this isn't supposed to send you into a fungal frenzy. Scientists assure us a lot of the fungal communities on our skin are harmless. So, is it A, your toenails, B, the heel, or C, in between the toes that have been found to be the most fungally diverse? I'll keep you on your toes a little bit longer as I'll be revealing the answer later on in the show. You're listening to Unexpected Elements from the BBC World Service. I'm Marnie Chesterton and I'm here with Moral Jamal. Say hello, Moral.
Hi.
And Phyllis Moite. Say hello, Phyllis.
Hi, Marnie. How are you?
Good, thank you. So, after the hot take from Narayan Murthy that Indian kids should be working 70-hour weeks, we've looked at whether the science says that's a good idea. Short answer, not really. We've also looked at the Arctic pressures that stop both predators and prey from getting a solid night's sleep. And again, we're touching on ideas of efficiency, strategies for getting what you want, and we've heard a lot about productivity, and that got us wondering, what does that actually mean? And in a world that's in the midst of a cost of living crisis and a climate crisis, is it really the right thing to be measuring? Well, joining us is Professor Matthew Agarwala, who's an environmental economist at the Bennett Institute for Public Policy at the University of Cambridge here in the UK. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, how are you?
Very well. So, Matthew, normally at this point in the show, we'd be talking to a scientist. So, what can an economist tell us about well-being and the climate?
Well, I think there's an awful lot that economics can say about how we pursue the transition towards net zero, and of course about human well-being. In fact, I think economics is a piece of the puzzle for any of the big policy challenges that we face, whether that's quality of life and how we address the cost of living crisis, or indeed how we redefine economic progress in order to bring humanity back in line with our planetary boundaries.
So we hear about productivity, but what exactly is productivity? How can you measure it?
Well, there are lots of different types of productivity, but one of the ones that's most commonly understood is labor productivity, the dollars of output per hour worked. And that's been a mainstay of economic focus for decades now, because it's the change in labor productivity that defines changes in wages, changes in living standards, and the efficiency with which we utilize inputs like energy, like raw materials, like timber and metals, in order to generate goods and services in the economy.
Okay, and the people like billionaire Narayan Murthy want the economy to grow, and that's through increased productivity, right?
Well, there are two ways that economies grow. One is by increasing the inputs, that is, more labor, working more hours, using more capital and more raw materials. And the other way that economies grow is by increasing the productivity, the value we get per unit of input. So we can increase the inputs, or we can use them more efficiently. And in reality, most economies rely on both. But as we face aging populations, falling birth rates, people having children later and entering the workforce later, what we're seeing is that in many economies there will be a shrinking of the labor supply, which means we can't just use more inputs. We're desperately going to need to improve and boost productivity.
And one of the criticisms that's been levelled at people who are interested in growth is that growth isn't always necessarily good for the environment. And you're an environmental economist, so how do you factor that in?
Well, I think this is a really exciting question. And there are lots of people who, on one side of this argument, will say economic growth is bad for nature. We have surpassed nature's boundaries, and therefore we must shrink GDP, gross domestic product. We must shrink the economy. On the other side of this argument, you have a group of people that say that, well, actually, technological innovation has increased labor productivity, increased agricultural productivity, and because of this, we will be able to innovate and design ourselves our way out of any sort of constraints. The problem that most of these debates and discussions face is that they focus only on income, only on GDP. Imagine that you're running a bakery. The size of the pie you can produce in the future depends on the stock of ingredients in your pantry. Run out of ingredients, and tomorrow's pie is smaller. It turns out that the economy operates in precisely the same way, except that the core ingredients of economic prosperity are not flour and sugar and milk and butter. They are capital assets. That means human capital, the health and skills of the population; social capital, the amount of trust that we have in each other, in businesses, in government; the ability of communities to overcome collective action problems. It's an economic asset. We see during the pandemic that cities that had higher social capital were better performers in terms of the number of cases and the number of deaths than cities with lower social capital. Crucially, it includes human capital, social capital, and natural capital. Nature, a stable climate system, healthy ecosystems, clean air, clean water. Nature starts most supply chains, and the problem that we've faced in this pursuit of growth or degrowth has been that we focus only on the income, only on the size of the pie, and we ignore what's going on in our economic pantry. And growth over the past 75 years has largely been based on raiding that economic pantry.
So how do we push people to go for productivity that's good for the environment if up till now they've been getting away with just, raiding that on the sly?
Well, I think part of this comes from the way that economists and the media and the public and the government understand productivity growth. If you imagine two different car factories, they both produce the same number of the same model of vehicle, but one of these factories does it with zero pollution, and the other does it with loads of pollution. At the moment, mainstream productivity statistics make no distinction between these two factories. And that's because when most people try to calculate productivity, they operate under the assumption of the free disposal of bad outputs. If your production process, producing cars in your factory, generates bad outputs, like pollution, we can ignore that in the productivity data. I just don't think that that is a measure of productivity that is fit for the 21st century. We know that we face challenges of climate change, of biodiversity loss, of air pollution, of water pollution, and if our productivity measures can't factor those in, then they're not relevant for the challenges that we face as a global economy today.
So we started the show with a suggestion from billionaire Narayan Murthy that young in India should be working 70-hour weeks. We've heard how productivity starts tailing off massively after 50 hours, so maybe the employees should do something else, like sleep. Hopefully they manage longer than elephant seals with their underwater micronaps, which is apparently the best way to avoid being eaten in dangerous environments. Don't go to sleep. Not so sustainable for humans. And talking of sustainable, we've just heard from environmental economist Matthew Agarwala. He's taught us that in accounting up till now, when people have been looking at the balance sheets, they've kind of just been missing off some really important bits, like the effect of productivity on the natural environment and human well-being. Still to come on Unexpected Elements, we thought we were so special, but it seems that the more scientists look, the more other creatures they find where the females go through some sort of menopause. Also, your emails and messages. Who joined, then unjoined a cult? Who saw the giant puma? You'll find out shortly.
This is the BBC World Service, with a story that began on the ice rinks of Toronto and ended in Canada's highest court.
Tryout time starts today, and I'm going to hear the same words again.
Yes, you're good enough. We wish we could take you, but you're a girl.
We're back in the 1980s, and 12-year-old Justine Blaney has tried and failed to make it onto a boys' ice hockey team.
The rules were holding her back.
So, she took matters into her own hands.
Is there a lawyer willing to donate his or her time to fight this unfairness?
For some, she'd become a national hero. For others,
the total opposite.
I'm Cassie Campbell-Pascal, double Olympic ice hockey gold medalist. As a girl, I was on the edge of this story, watching on. Now, almost 40 years on, I'm taking a closer look.
Frozen Out, part of Amazing Sports Stories. Saturday at 18:30 GMT.
Coming up after the news, humans like to think we're special. We even invented a word, anthropocentric, to describe how we tend to think of ourselves as special. Take menopause. 11 years ago, we were the only animal that went through it. Then we discovered some whales do it too, and in the past couple of weeks, many more animals have come out of the woodwork. Find out which in Unexpected Elements, coming up shortly.
BBC News with Debbie Russ. A major conference is taking place in France to discuss ways of getting desperately needed humanitarian aid into Gaza. Delegations from several Arab countries are attending the talks in Paris, but there's no Israeli representative. Israel is again opening a route for civilians in northern Gaza to evacuate to the south of the territory. The spokesman said the main road would be open for 6 hours. He said about 50,000 people fled on Wednesday. Reports from Spain say the governing socialists have reached an agreement to help them stay in power. The deal is with the Catalan separatist party, which wants an amnesty for those involved in a failed independence bid. The proposal has led to widespread protests. A Malaysian MP who was elected at the age of 25 has been sentenced to 7 years in jail for money laundering. Syed Sadiq was found guilty of misappropriating about $200,000. Myanmar's military-backed president...
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Hole of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
The best radio show. Worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up? Broadcasting live online. Turn it on. Turn it up.
Online, on mobile.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We call them London for home. For here, we call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Online, on mobile, and soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands. The hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are.
And that is how I say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the Thursday edition of the morning show. Today is the 9th day of November, the year 2023, with the time now 10:46 from the hearts of London.
Lord, you that's why forever call you great.
But wherever you are listening to us from, I will say to you, don't touch the dial, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and invite them to like our pages as well. But I'm saying good morning to my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and all you wonderful people who have encompassed us listening to us. And let me say good morning and thank you very much to Mr. Olayomi Koiki for stepping in the stead for me yesterday as well. But today is going to be a very, very special program which will be ending exactly at 12 o'clock. Because as I was saying, Lomi did say yesterday I was working behind the scenes doing some stuff. Making sure that everything that you are hearing will be good, or as I'll put it this way, better than you have.
You will never change. You remain.
But I'm saying good morning to Bishop Adeshina, Anthony Adedeji Aziz, good morning to you. Olakunle, massive good morning. Shamsuddin, good morning to you.
One who took my pain.
My brother Felix, all the way in Aberdeen, I salute you, sir. I hope you are doing very, very well. Vicky Newton, good morning to you. Vicky will be coming your way this evening with a wonderful program that is the Property Hour Show. She will be sitting in for KB Bossman, who normally brings the program. And if you are watching us live, you can see the Property Hour Show. The topic is Expo, Ghana Expo 23, Property and Lifestyle UK edition.
Holy, holy.
So make sure you join her this evening for that program where it's all going to be a girls show. She's going to have in Efura B. Owusu, Anna Jekum and Victoria Jekum, the Jekum sisters. They'll be there, and then herself, Vicky Newton, hosting the program. So wherever you are, once again, welcome to the program. Let me say good morning to Auntie Mary, Mrs. Mary Bruce. Ma'am, I hope you are doing well. And to Felix all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning to you. Anthony Adedeji, once again, good morning.
Love for you.
So, for those of you who are tuning for the first time listening to us on the program, this is how the program is going to be. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel updates as well. We move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's known as Global Trotting, and that we'll be doing that. After that, we'll go straight to Nigeria for updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki. He'll also be giving you a sneak view of what he discussed yesterday on the Niger Voices and the reactions that came through.
The hand that made me who I am.
Then at 11:30, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussion. Exactly at 12 o'clock, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. So in Nigeria, that's what's going to happen to you. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
The quote for the day says, if people are usually having to give in to your preferences and the way you think, should be done, eventually they will feel they can't count on you to be open-minded. Interestingly, there are lots of us who are not open-minded, and it is our way or the highway. But you want to know more? One touch the dial, and I'm going to tell you more and more and more.
Great to be praised. Great are you.
Now let's move on straight to the weather front. Let me tell you what is happening on the weather front. For London and the eastern part of the UK, this afternoon we'll see a mix of sunny spells and patchy cloud. There will be isolated showers pushing in from the west as well. Tonight is expected to be largely dry to start with, clear spells, but extensive cloud will spread in from the west through the early hours. A few spots of rain are likely towards the dawn. The top of the temperature is going to be 11 degrees, the lower is going to be 6 degrees, UV level is going to be low, pollution is going to be low, sunset is going to be at 16:20, sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:07 hours.
To the end, to the end, you are
Starr Radio UK.
one who took my.
I'm moving on straight to the travel updates as well. On the travel this morning, what we have for you, yes, on the major roads in London, A316 has got serious delays. Other side, on the underground this morning, good service throughout London Overground, DLR and London Tramway, good service there as well. On the riverbank this morning, apart from the Woolwich Ferry that's got reduced service, all the others are running a very good service there too. The landing cable car is also running a good service. And that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update. Keep your eyes on the roads as we keep it navigated. So on the final segment, Avanti West Coast Cross Country, First Transparent Express, London North Eastern Railway, Lumo, Merseyrail, Northern Rail, ScotRail have all got minor delays. Island Line has got special service. The other side, all the others are running a very, very good service, and that is where I would say once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes where? On the roads.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Welcome back to the program. There's a bit of some noise in my background, but just bear with me. The technical team will do their best to try to sort it out for me. Okay, yes, let me see. Okay, just bear with us on that note. But going global trotting now. Let me say once again to my colleague Ms. Olayomi, Koiki, good morning. The NLC TUC protesters have blocked both the entry and exit way of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. And then some other story, Tinubu stops electricity tariff hike, insists on subsidy. Is it a call or what is it? Okay. So are they going to give subsidies to people, individuals, or homes? How is that going to pan out? Okay, and Obi falls at Tinubu's 2.17 trillion supplementary budget. And then UK police probe suicide of British-born Nigerians. There are some stories making the rounds in other parts of the world as well. Libya ICC prosecutor notes positive progress in probes into crime against migrants. Well, as I did say the other time, I showed a video of what was happening in Morocco and pertaining to migrants and the fact that black African or those from the Sub-Saharan Africa, and then the way they were being maltreated and stuff like that. But let me tell you more about all that. In Tunisia as well, 2 people close to former dictator Ben Ali have been jailed. A leading Tunisian businessman and a former minister close to former dictator Ben Ali have been jailed in 2 separate investigations into suspected money laundering or whatever it is, criminality that we're going to be telling you about. And in Cameroon, at least 20 dead in attack by English-speaking separatists. I think I brought that story your way the day before yesterday. In Egypt, passengers of peace boat call for immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Some stories making the rounds. Now moving on straight to other parts of the world as well. Henry Kwabena Kokofu Esquire, the face behind the innovative and evolving EPA. Is it the EPA working for Ghana? Well, I'll be telling you more about that. A man commits suicide in his room at the Biasim. What is causing all that? Now, fireworks at Parliament over Kotumbo Dam spillage. We'll tell you more about that. Well, all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In other parts of the world as well, Israel reports a 10-hour battle at Hamas stronghold as evacuation resumes. Israel says that it takes over a Hamas site in Jabalia, North Gaza, while airstrikes continue across the strip. And then Kenya outcry over new charge for ID cards. Well. And then transgender people can be baptized. Vatican is saying the Roman Catholic Church says priests can baptize trans people so long as it does not cause scandal. Well, we can talk about that later. An officer aimed gun at colleague over Top Gun spoiler. It's one of the stories making the rounds. And 30-meter wave and surfer a woman's record. Now records are being broken left, right, and center. But what do you think about all that? Lots more going to be coming your way from there. 4 takeaways from the third Republican debate. Well, the third Republican debate has been taking place, but you know the forerunner, who is Donald Trump, he's not participated in even one of it. Yet he is in the lead. What is going on there? Okay, in the UK, our Home Secretary row erupts over Braverman's Gaza rally comments. The Home Secretary comes under fire after saying the force often plays favorites when policing protests. We'll tell you more about all that. 1 million, one more than one NHS waiting list. So if you have an appointment for a procedure, oh boy, it goes on and on and on. You might be the 101th or how many person in the queue. But lots more going to be coming your way from there. It's not coming your way from Star Radio UK. At this moment, we're going to take a break. We'll take some music. And once we come back, we should have Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining in to bring you all that you need to know. And this is from Pastor Theodore Abuachiansa, and he says, "You reign." Enjoy it. I see you all in a jiffy.
Seasons come and go.
Well, that is You Rain from Pastor Theodore Abuache and son. Season comes and goes. But you reign. God reigns in the affairs of men. So wherever you are this morning, I want to say, whatever you are going through, don't give in, don't give up. As I say all the time, you know that is my call. That's what I like to say. Don't give in, don't give out. Keep on holding on, because one day you'll get to that place, right? Yes, that day could be today. What about that? It's now 2 minutes past the top of the hour. Whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koiki to join in to bring you the updates from Nigeria, let me admonish you to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. So some other stories making the rounds whilst Yomi gets on it. Anthony, yay! I hope you are doing very, very well. I love you for listening as well. You know why I get on with Anthony? My late dad is known as Anthony as well. Yes, Anthony Hammond. And so Anthony Adeneji is like my brother, my dad, and everything. You see how it's like? Yeah. Okay. Now, in other stories that we're going to be looking at from Nigeria, Tinubu jets out on Thursday for maiden Saudi Africa Summit in Riyadh. And then Ajero Aviation Unions blacklist in flights nationwide. We'll be telling you more about that. So if you are going to Nigeria and then this morning you intend using some of the local flights and all those things, there's some blacklisting that has been going on there, but we'll tell you more about that once we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki on. Okay, so here in the UK, some of the stories that is making the rounds, let's touch on that quickly, and then we will have Mr. Olayomi Koiki. The moment he joins in, we'll straight to what is happening from Nigeria. Okay, he is here. So I think we will cross straight to him instead of going to what is happening there. But let's wait whilst he gets on. As I did say earlier on, this evening exactly at 7 o'clock, Vicky Newton will be hosting or standing in the stead for KB Bossman when they bring you the property hour. And today another one, Ghana Expo 23 Property and Lifestyle UK 7th edition, and he will be having as his guest, she will be having as her guest Efuabi Owusu and Anna Ejekum and Victoria Ejekum. Yes, Efuabi Owusu is the head of sales, leasing and marketing for Gold Coast, and then Anna and Victoria Ejekum, they are co-founders of the Ghana Property and Lifestyle Expo and On Point Property Management Limited. Well, so you want to know more, make sure that that's logged on, and I bet you'll not miss a thing there. Okay, let's take a quick break whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koiki to come on. It is Starr Radio UK. It is a Thursday edition of the morning show. I am Archie.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
You are listening to Starr Radio Morning Show.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactly 8 minutes past the top of the hour. And it's my singular honor to welcome my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who has joined us this morning. His quest to bring you the one and only updates from Nigeria. I was going to say Niger Voices, but I'm saying, Yomi, good morning to you.
Good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie, and a very good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the world. And welcome once again to the morning show where we discuss the happenings on the other side of the continent in Nigeria. Good morning, Frank. Good morning to all our presenters. And most importantly, good morning, good afternoon to our viewers from around the world and to those that have joined us on the sister broadcast around the globe.
Okay. How are you, and how was your way back home yesterday from the studios? After the
it was like I said yesterday. The overground. After 25 years in UK, sometimes you could miss that stop, or if you are not, making sure that you're boarding on the right train, especially the overground, you could find yourself in a different location. I'm sure I spoke to you, just about almost half an hour, into the show, but making my way back home, it was not too bad. The most important thing, like I said, I got back home, I was still able to, to speak to my viewers that were following us, because, people like us, wants to know what is going on around us, even though they can't know everything. The security of living in UK is one of the top notch, even though we've had glitch of the 7/7 attack, and there's still imminent attack here in the UK. So that means security is important, and if you're going home, you're expected to get back home. Even in the crisis of what is going on in the Middle East, there's a lot of tension going on, but I can confirm that coming back home last night after the this Niger Voices was a very fantastic return back home. I love the public transport. It is a little bit cheaper than driving.
Of course, it is. Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you. And for the sake of those who missed out on the Niger Voices yesterday, but before I go on, your way you put it on your hat. This morning, I thought this one is Chief. What do you call him? Nnamdi Azikiwe. You are looking like him.
Well, you might be right. Many people have even said maybe I'm from the southeast, I'm an Igbo man. But one thing is, regardless of who you are, humanity is the most important thing. And not just, Azikiwe. I think, if you look at the late saga, the late Obafemi Awolowo. Let's see if we can get, it dresses like this as well. But it seems that Tinubu is not. This is the president's hat. That was the president with his logo there. He's currently on his route. He's probably right now in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. We're going to be telling you a little bit more. But if you compare these to what these Afenifere is putting on, that is what Awolowo would have put on throughout his lifetime. So that tells you that the Afenifere, the pan-Yoruba social cultural groups that believe that it is only the restructure of Nigeria that can keep us together. If not, the country is as bleak. And if you then come back a little bit further down, you will then be able to see what late Obafemi Awolowo, the premier of the regional government, the first individual that decided that the southwest part of Nigeria then was moving at a speed of sound. We have the television station that was working before France. We have the cocoa house that was built. It's still standing. And you might not also know that he also funded through the cocoa revenue what we can call the Nigeria High Commission today in London. That also created free education, but it seems that after the military took over, almost everything he worked hard for with his cabinet as at the time have now been destroyed or been moved into what we can now call the federal government. And that also involved the radio station that was put out. It is now known as the NTA and so many other things. In 1982, literally the southwest part of Nigeria was moving much more faster than South Korea. It seems now that everything has shattered and we are now back to square one.
Well, listeners, back to square one. But what can we do? So when the foundation is destroyed, what would the righteous do? The righteous can talk, they can pray, and whatever thing that they want to do. Let me say good morning to Pastor Mo. Long time no here. I hope you are doing very, very well as well. Say good morning, wonderful people. Well done, and God be with you all, and God be with you too, our pastor. All right then, listen to Starr Radio UK. Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Let's hit the ground running. A quick one from what you discussed yesterday on the Niger Voices.
Well, let's just put it down that we discussed almost everything a country is expected to run on. We talked about the security of Nigeria is the paramount. If you don't have the security, you cannot have the investors coming in. You cannot have many Nigerians that would love to come back home. But it seems that the new as you can see, that is the new information minister and orientation tends to be telling the international community Nigeria is still open for businesses, and likewise many diaspora that would love to invest back home. But one thing is, without adequate security, without discussing the issues surrounding the self-determination, right there you can see the Prime Minister, government in exile of the Biafra, that is also saying that we cannot legitimize illegitimacy in the southwest and in the southeast, and that literally means that there's going to be a lot of tension in Imo State again as we go into what we called another election that is coming up. We talked about the currency. We talked about also the Borno State governor telling us about the timeline of a country like Nigeria might be wiped off the map. I don't think we want to see such. Even if it's going to dissolve. But the problem is the insecurity also means that I talked about that while I was anchoring the program yesterday. During the morning show, many Christians have been killed in Nigeria. And the question is, what more can be done to rectify all these damages? This was what was discussed throughout the 2.5 hours program that we held on the Niger Voices last night in the studio.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you everything you need to know. And that was some sneak view of what happened on the Niger Voices yesterday. But now let's come to substantive issue this morning. The NLC stroke TUC protesters have blocked both the entry and exit way of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. What is their call? What are they looking for? And have there been any response from government at all?
Well, it seems that the president will be briefed on a daily basis in terms of the security of the country while he's currently in Saudi Arabia. You're quite right. Abuja Airport is now completely blocked. As the military has also not allowed the the NLC and the TUC, members to get closer, to the airport. So what they've done is, they've driven very close down there. There's so many vehicles, and that means that, as we speak right now, there's a total shutdown at the airport. It's going to be a big impact of travelers that are traveling out of Nigeria. Remember that is the capital city, and that also indicates that many individuals that have flights, whether the local flight or the international flight, would then have to walk into the airport with their luggages. I mean, it is not new in Nigeria. You get stuck in the traffic heading to the airport. Rather than going into that Uber or your vehicle that is driving you, you probably get into Okada, motorcycle that can take you down there, or you might just have a molanke that can push you there, as long as you can get to the airport in time. So what we are witnessing is there's always been the NLC saying that there's going to be strike, there's going to be protest, but the protest is part of what they call a series of actions that the two labor centers says they will zero in on again Imo State, following the attack of the NLC president Joe Ajaro at Imo State some few weeks back.
Interesting one there. Well, let's see whether the government will heed to their calls, and let's see what happens out of that. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Moving on to some of the other stories making the rounds this morning as well. Don't you worry, you can see Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and that is good enough, right? Yes. Okay. Now, Tinubu stops electricity tariff hike, insists on subsidy. And then let me add this one to it. Obi faults Tinubu's 2.17 trillion supplementary budget. Now, is that supplementary budget for the electricity tariff subsidy that is talking about? What exactly? Can you throw more light on that, please?
Well, you're quite right. This is what we expect. Opposition must be ready to, to put, the government in place, and keep them on the toes. As much as the election is completed, there is now a government running. Peter Obi knocks Tinubu's wasteful supplementary budget. Again, admits suffering by the Nigerians. This is coming as Peter Obi of the Labour Party has described the passing of the 2023 supplementary budget into law by President Bola Tinubu has been wasteful, berating the government for being insensitive, uncaring about the suffering of Nigerians, while squandering resources on a mysterious presidential yacht and the fleet of what we call the SUV that we're expecting them to be buying anytime soon. Then coming back to the next headline, electricity is very, very important. President Bola Tinubu stops electricity tariff hike, insists on subsidy. Yesterday I was looking at the government says they've saved about almost 1.4 trillion naira. That's a huge amount of money since the subsidy has been removed by President Bola Tinubu since he came back as the president on the May 29. Recently, President Tinubu stopped the implementation of a hike in electricity tariff, but insisted that subsidy be paid on what we call power consumed nation. This is coming from the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, that almost died again for the negligence of a country that is so corrupt, a country that doesn't have, what we called maintenances. Adelabu last week on the private jet that should not be a commercial flight eventually skidded, but it was saved just by the creator or whatever he believes in. But the minister said yesterday that the federal government of Bola Tinubu would investigate the legality of the 5-year license expansion given to privatize power distribution, and also the general company, stressing that the operating licenses of the firms would have to expire at the end of last month. The minister that spoke at the press briefing in Abuja further stated that he would sack any non-performing chief executive in the agency under the power ministry. Let me give you a background to that. What we've seen is that during the Jonathan period, many licenses were sold in the power sector. But unfortunately, most of those that bought it do not have the capacity, to maintain the capacity to also look after that sector. It seems that this president wants to review that, Not sure why, the former president under, President Muhammadu Buhari refused to do the same thing, but it seems that this government is trying to vet back maybe some of the licenses that were issued during the period of Jonathan and likewise during the period of the other President Muhammadu Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo.
Well, is that what they intend doing? Well, if that is what they intend doing, we'll find out pretty soon. It's just a matter of time. So, are you trying to say that Peter Obi has taken a place in the House of Representatives, or as the substantive what do you call it, opponents of, or what do you call them in the houses here in the houses of Commons here, opposition party in the House of Representatives? Is that what they've done?
Well, they haven't got much. I believe they have maybe one or two Labour Party candidates as the Senate, and probably one or two or three as well in the House. So, the numbers is not that much, but again, he's still an opposition because he contested for the president. He lost, according to the voters. They went down to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, they could not, still bring back Peter Obi as the president. So all he can do right now is to cross-check what the present administration is saying. And like Peter Obi, criticism comes shortly after the 2023 supplementary appropriation bill to the tune of 2.17 trillion that was passed into law just yesterday. No item of urgent social welfare as yet featured in this supplementary budget being orchestrated by this government. Instead, the item being made to dominant public disclosure on the budget include the mysterious presidential yacht, presidential jet, the furnishing of already lavishly furnished presidential quarters, and the office fleet of luxury SUV. And this is coming from Peter Obi. He was actually speaking. He said this portray President Bola Tinubu's government that it is totally uncaring, insensitive to the suffering of the majority, and the indifferent to the mood of the nation. And I can tell you, the mood of the nation, many Nigerians are not smiling as we speak this morning.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. Mr. Koiki in our North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios, and we are bringing you updates from Nigeria. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. We're going to move on quickly. Yes, when it comes to the president, whether Nigerians like it or not, he has left the country en route to Saudi Arabia for the Riyadh summit that is going to be taken, Saudi Africa summit in Riyadh. Now, the question is, what more is Nigeria looking for to get from Saudi Arabia? Is it the oil? We have crude oil. They have as much as, let's say, if Nigeria has not got as much as they have, but they have done something out of what they have. Now, what is Nigeria or the president going to learn or going to get from them? Yomi.
Well, there's a lot, to learn from, Saudi Arabia, and there's also so much that can be fruitful between the two, country when it comes to maintaining a fruitful bilateral, coordination. And I'm just going back to one of the Arab news. This was just some few months back, and it says here, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia have maintained a fruitful bilateral coordination envoy. According to Ambassador Yahya Lawal, our bilateral cooperation, which was initially Hajj-centric, many Nigerians traveled to this destination, to perform Umrah, to perform Hajj, but also the government has other engagement and bilateral trade, between the two countries. So what we are witnessing is that we now have, again, President Bola Tinubu is not the first time he will be traveling there. He's a Muslim. He's been there a few times. He was there just before the election, for the lesser Hajj, as it is known. But this time around, he's now going to Saudi Arabia as the man in charge of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So he'll be getting a special, red carpet as he arrived in Saudi Arabia, as against going there as just a citizen prior before the election and being the president as well. So what we are going to see between the two countries is just the bilateral relationship. Speaking during the Independence Day of Nigeria in Riyadh, the envoy as at the time says, we join the Saudi brothers and sisters in commemorating their own 93rd National Day, wishing them further progress. But this time around, Nigeria also got the independence on the 1st of October 1960, and Nigeria established a formal diplomatic relationship with Saudi Arabia just a year after the independence. So you can tell that we have had this relationship with Saudi ever since a year after the Nigerian independence in 1960. And that is about 6 decades.
Wow. But see what they've done with their resources, and what have we done with ours? Somebody said that we have the West manipulating, or our colonial masters manipulating us. But what have we done ourselves? That is the question. I want you to put your comments on whatever we are discussing this morning. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, before I leave, Mr. Olayomi Koiki to bring you all the rest of the stories. Now, last time we did talk about mental health care, and we've been celebrating World Mental Health Day and stuff like that. But this is a case where we're talking about here, I think it's here in the UK, where the British UK police are probing a suicide of a British-born Nigerian. Do you have any information to that? And who is that person, if any? If you have got any insights to that as well, Yomi.
Yes, suicide is, we talked about it a lot on the Starr Radio UK, and if you're feeling suicidal, it is important that you speak to someone. It is not the option to take, because it is also going to be a very, very bad stigma, not even within the community, also within the society at large as well. I'll be giving you a little bit background. Last year, not last year, I think beginning of this year, we lost one Nigerian, a Yoruba man in Liverpool. He's a DJ. Told the wife to get something in the store. By the time the wife came back, he was already gone. He actually committed suicide. And the reason he gave us at the time from, information was that, the community were not giving him enough, either jobs, within the community in Liverpool. But the one we are talking about this morning is that the British police has now said it is reviewing the case involving the late Alani Ogundipe, who committed suicide after being allegedly blackmailed by a boyfriend, Ryan Legit. According to the detective, Inspector Johnny Dyer of the Great Manchester Police made the disclosure just on Friday in response to an inquiry on the status of the investigation. Dyer, who is currently handling the case, said the police were in correspondence with the family. He also said that I can confirm receipt of your email. I have been asked to review this investigation. I am in correspondence with Oladapo Ogundipe. According to the review that is still ongoing, when completed, Oladapo Ogundipe and his family would also be updated. I'm trying to get the image, up in just about a few minutes so we can have a background to this individual, and we can only pray, for the family. When you commit suicide, it could be devastating. It could have a lot of impact, like I said, in the community and friends and family, both in Nigeria and as well right in UK. This incident happened after Leggett allegedly broke into a phone, copied a document, and threatening to reveal her private information to the public. Awani's father, Oladapo Ogundipe, who raised the alarm over the circumstances that led to her daughter's death, said Leggett went further to make financial demands from her. He said, Ryan met my daughter in June 2022. Less than a month into the relationship, he already said he wanted to marry her and took her to his mother. As the director of my company, we plan to send her £100,000 meant for a particular investment in UK. When Ryan Wyapps knew about this, he started asking for a bank statement, but on the 13th of May started shouting at her. After she refused to give it to him, he waited till May 28, 2023, after he had found out that her passport was required for his money to be sent. That was how he broke into the phone on the May 28th around 10 a.m. while she was asleep and started to use information he copied to blackmail her. He also made her apologize to him, now used the apology to get her to agree in writing what she was going to pay him in coerced to debt she owed. So you can see that it seems that this is a case of what we can call relationship, money, And that has also meant that Oladapo said he didn't know what transpired until after her daughter had died. He also disclosed that it was after the incident that Legend shared a series of information that revealed how he broke into the phone. But like I said, the wife who witnessed the conversation had not been invited, neither was Legend arrested, adding that the police only based their finding on the statement. So we will continue to monitor that. All this happened in Manchester, but like I said, there's so much happening within our community. I'm aware of that particular DJ, and we can continue to pray for the family and the children he left behind. And each time such news pops up, some might think that people are not committing such very serious situation in UK. They do, but like I always say, there's depression everywhere in the world. But if you're feeling depressed, you got to speak to someone as quickly as possible.
That's right. If you are feeling depressed, please speak to someone. I mean, it might just be something little. At times you can call it a bluff, let them do whatever, and then we can get on. But if it's not, then what? So listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11:33 the time. We'll go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds and anything on the social media platform. Over to you, Yomi.
Yeah, we're going to make it swiftly because I'm aware that at 12 o'clock we're going to be bringing the program down to an end. 51 billion debt. The federal government rules dwelling revenue reps condemn needless loans and contract. And again, corpse of adopted river teenager found in a shallow grave as well. OAU workers lament 10-month unpaid salary. Again, I'm not too sure how, when salaries are not paid, how you expect citizens to operate, is a disaster, because if you're not paying them the salary, the question then is, how do you expect them to get to work? How do you expect them to survive? And this is why, this new administration must do whatever needs to be done, to revive, if possible, protect workers as well. Some medical workers at Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital in Ile-Ife, Osun State, have tackled the management for allegedly subjecting them to penury over 10 months of unpaid salary. The employees who spoke during the interviews yesterday stressed that they have resorted to begging to feed their families due to the hardship the non-payment of salaries has also subjected them to. What a very sad situation there. It seems that the federal government is making so much revenue collection at the custom. In the last 4 months, 334 billion have now been collected as revenue. The question is, maybe some of this revenue were not probably paid, from whoever was running the affairs. But the new Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, says the service recorded a surge in monthly revenue collection from 202 billion naira to 333.9 billion in the last 4 months. So it seems that that sector, which is a very huge sector, as you can tell, when it comes to custom, many Nigerians around the world ship stuff to the country. But the only problem is sometimes, just as the airport, some of those things inside have also been tampered with. The Senate to investigate loop-side recruitment by the Civil Service Commission. It is party government, as we say in Nigeria, but it seems that the Senate has now directed its Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matter to investigate alleged loop-side recruitment and deployment by the Federal Civil Service Commission, FCSC. This followed the adoption of a motion on urgent need to ensure federal characters principle in the FCSC, sponsored by Senator Titus Zama of APC Benue State at the preliminary. Presenting the motion, Mr. Zama said the FCSC was established to recruit and deploy officers with relinquished qualification into the federal services. I can assure you that many Nigerians do pay to get into a particular services or sector in Nigeria, and this is still going on as we speak. Let's take you down straight to Benue State before we move straight to the social media. Benue Teaching Hospital new MRI dialysis machines are not working. The MRI machine alone, if functioning, can solve close to 70% of radiological dialysis. What is shocking is that the machine was only commissioned in March this year. Only Lord knows how much money was pumped into that machine. You can tell that the country is as useless as some of us say that. It doesn't seem that, the management of this hospital needs to be checked. Maybe they've even swapped, that machine with their own private hospital. According to Stephen Idwan, the chief medical director of the Benue State Teaching Hospital, says the magnetic resonance imagery MRI and 2 dialysis machines acquired by the hospital are not working. He disclosed this yesterday when members of the Benue State House Assembly Standing Committee on Health visited the hospital for oversight functioning. He said the MRI machine was only launched in March. It's not working together with the 2 dialysis machines that acquired for isolation unit. The MRI machine produced detailed images of almost every internal structure in the human body, including the organ, bones, muscular, and blood vessel. Mr. Adwin, however, added that since the contractor installed the MRI machine, test run was conducted. It was not used on any patient. I don't know what more to say on that. We're going to move straight, because of the time, straight to what is happening on the social media this morning. This is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And remember to follow us on Monday to Sunday with all the programs. And make sure you follow us on the X space as well. It seems that the protest in Abuja is currently trending on the social media this morning. NLC TUC is trending. Abuja Airport is trending. Ashake is trending. Bello Matawale is trending, and I can talk about Bello Matawale, a former governor in Nigeria, but also, according to the reports, Zamfara State government have now presented documents revealing how Bello Matawale not only blew over 1 billion naira for abandoned catering rest house. The immediate past administration of the former governor was also buying vehicles for what they call bandits, but there's nothing known as bandits. These are Fulani terrorists that are promoting, terrorism across Nigeria. Another headline says how Bello Matawale squander over 1 billion naira for abandoned hotel service center. You can tell the wastage that is happening around these as well. The particular interview that was granted that revealed this governor that was paying, the former governor is currently under this new administration as a minister, was coming from the new commissioner of the state. Says the former governor of Zamfara State really finished Zamfara totally. Before leaving office, he should be arrested. The question is, would Bola Tinubu have what it takes to arrest a sitting minister under his nose? I am not too sure corruption is going anywhere near in Nigeria yet. That is how far we can go. But like I said, if you're traveling out of Abuja this morning or maybe tomorrow, you might want to put extra time ahead now, because nobody knows what is happening there. But again, somebody says under the comment section, what concern FCT with Ajaro fight in Imo State? The soldiers and the police are not policemen are there, not workers too. Some of the comments, somebody clearly stated that it will continue from where Buhari stopped, and people are surprised. They play. We are all in this mess.
I like the bit where they said he would continue where Buhari left, and the people are surprised. But what do you think about everything that we discussed this morning? I hope that those of you on the other platform as well, and as many of you listening to us or viewing us, you've enjoyed the program so far. Yomi, let me say thank you very much for that wonderful update as well. Before you leave,
we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye. Okay, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you on the Starr Radio UK Thursday edition morning show, where he brought you updates from Nigeria. We're going to take a quick break. We come back and we will bring you all the other stories making the rounds. As I did say, the program was going to be, the curtains will be brought down exactly at 12 o'clock for the end of the program, so that I can be behind the scenes doing the things that I was doing yesterday to make sure everything is nice. But for that noise in the background, please just bear with me, and let me say thank you very, very, very much for joining in. All right then, so a quick break. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Welcome back to the program. As I did announce earlier on, yes, the Property Hour show taking place tonight, and today Vicky is going to be stepping in the stead for KB Bossman. It's going to be a whole girls show or ladies show or female show. Oh boy! Now she's going to be hosting FYB Owusu, head and sales leasing and marketing of the Gold Key. Okay, and then Anna Ejekum and Victoria Ejekum, co-founders of the Ghana Property and Lifestyle Expo and On Point Property Management Limited. So they are going to be the guests on that program. So make sure your dials are logged on and then you can enjoy everything that you need to enjoy. But listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on to some of the other stories. Now, if you want to hop in, feel free, hop in, hop out as you want, like the Boris bus. Okay, so let's go straight to some other African stories making the rounds on the African continent. A quick one from there. In Guinea, commando operation in Guinea, reward offered for the capture of the last fugitive. The Guinean authority on Wednesday offered a reward equivalent to more than 54,000 euros for the capture of the last former top official under dictatorship of Musa Dadis Camara, still outside after being released from prison on Saturday in a commando operation. Heavily armed men extracted Musa Dadis Camara and 3 other prisoners from Conakry's Central Prison on Saturday. They are currently on trial for a massacre committed in 2009 under his presidency, one of the darkest pages in Guinean's history. The raid left at least 9 people dead, according to the public prosecutor's office. The Captain Dadis Camara and 2 other prisoners were recaptured the same day. Now, Claude Peavy, one of the junta's strong men who ruled Guinea between 2008 and 2009 under Captain Dadis Camara, of whom he was minister, is still actively sought both nationally and internationally. Justice Minister Alphonse Charles Wright said in a statement on Wednesday. So a 54,000 euros reward or bounty on his head. Well. Who finds him? And then what can be done about that? This is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. to other stories making the rounds on the African continent as well. At least 16 injured in opposition protests. Attention rise ahead of presidential polls in Madagascar. The story says at least 16 people were injured on Wednesday in new demonstrations that turned violent at the Stade de Barres, Antananarivo, Madagascar capital. Among the injured were 4 policemen. The latest incident comes as Madagascar reels for tensions ahead of the November 16 presidential election. On Wednesday's obtained march by the opposition coalition collective. The candidates saw the opposition lawmaker for Antananarivo. Okay, I got it. Faith constituency, Fetralam Boza Fimbolo Elona arrested for questioning by the police. The protests by the coalition of opposition candidates taking part in the upcoming elections are being held to denounce what they called an illegitimate electoral process. So they are starting from the word go that they don't believe in the referee. But how would that all pan out for them? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. In Ethiopia as well, militiamen evacuate the holy city of Lalibela. The army returns. Ethiopia's Federal Army regained control of Orthodox holy town Lalibela on Thursday following the overnight departure of militiamen who had largely seized it previous day. Residents said members of the Ambara Fano self-defense militia left during the night. The Federal Army is in control of the town. A resident of Lalibela, well famous for its rock-hewn churches, told AFP on Thursday morning on condition of anonymity. The Fano informal militiamen of volunteer citizens fighters supported the Ethiopian army during the 2-year conflict with the rebel authorities of the neighboring Tigray region, which ended with an agreement signed in November 2022 in Pretoria. But well, quite interesting. It's I think it's a UN UNICEF heritage site. Yeah. Okay. But now let's move on. We've got about 11 minutes, so we've got a lot more to bring your way. Let's move on straight to some of the other stories, and then we can bring the program to a close. Now, the floor of Parliament was full of fireworks when Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh briefed MPs about the Akosombo Dam spillage disaster. The minister, in his address, absolved the VRA of any blame in the incidents, arguing the spillage needed to be done to save the dam and avert a more calamitous outcome. Dr. Prempeh, in his submission, mentioned residents and MPs were engaged ahead of the spillage. He also disclosed VRA had provided relief items to MPs to be given to the affected constituents. Now, Pro East MP and former Power Minister Dr. Kwamina Donko drew the House's attention to the devastation visited on communities along the upper part of the dam as well. Now, Tama West MP Carlos Ahinkra argued that the victim of the spillage should take their plight as sacrifice to save the dam from collapsing, which would have been more catastrophic. Now, let's take it that he or his constituents were living in that place. Would they take it that way when your property is damaged? And it's not like the Akosombo Dam has been there only about a year or 5 years ago, and therefore they've not seen anything of the sort. Now, when they saw the telltale signs, when they were seeing the rains and everything, what was at the back of their minds? So they should sacrifice a few people for the majority, right? Interesting. Listeners, Starr Radio UK. We're moving on straight to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Well, the war continues. Now, Israel says it takes over a Hamas stronghold in northern Gaza after a 10-hour battle. Hamas-run authorities say Israeli airstrikes continued overnight, including in Khan Yunis in the south, where 6 people were reportedly killed. An evacuation route allowing people to leave North Gaza from the south is open for the 5th day. Now, Israel says 50,000 Palestinians left the Gaza City area on Wednesday via the route, but the Rafah crossing into Egypt is closed as Hamas wants more injured Palestinians to be let out alongside foreign passport holders. In the West Bank, Palestinian authorities say 6 people were killed during Israeli raid overnight. Now, Israel began striking Gaza after the Hamas attack on 7th of October, which saw 1,400 people killed and more than 200 taken hostage. More than 10,500 people have been killed in Gaza since, according to Hamas-run health ministry, including more than 4,300 children. But in a related story as well, Macron has called for humanitarian pause in Gaza. Opening a conference for Gaza hosted in Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron has just called for humanitarian pause to the fight in Gaza. The G7 group of nations, which includes France, said the same yesterday at a meeting of foreign ministers in Tokyo. Now, Macron also said that France aid to the Palestinians will increase 5-fold next year from 10 million euros, from 20 million euros to 17 million. This that is from 20 million euros to 87 million euros. That in the equivalent pound equivalent is 17.4 million pounds to 87 million pounds. So it's from 20 million euros to 100 million euros. So giving them the support. But if you look at the one-time destruction that has taken place there, what would that be? Scratch on the surface. But what do you think about all that? More coming your way. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, so bring you some other story. Kenyan government is illegally evicting hunter-gatherers from their ancestral lands to profit from carbon offsetting schemes, human rights lawyers have said. The hundreds of members of the Ogik community are being evicted from their Mau forests, say their representatives. Ogik leader Daniel Kobe said armed forest rangers were pulling down the houses with axes and hammers. Now, Kenya's government says such operations are to protect the environment. Really? Dr. Justin Kenrick from the Forest People's Program said the carbon credits and offsetting were key to what was happening. Those in control of Africa's forests stand to earn a lot of money, he said. The Mau is Kenya's biggest forest, and in our view, to clear that the interest shown by offsetting companies is prompting the Kenyan government to assert its control. The Ogik director of the International Lawyers Project agreed, "We have strong suspicion that this is related to carbon credits." Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You know, interestingly, all that monies will be paid, and ask yourself, who are the ones who will be enjoying that? But you want to know more, continue to keep your dial still logged on Starr Radio, okay? We've got another 5 minutes to go, but let me bring you this story. A pro-Palestinian protesters have scaled Parliament roof. Now, please set a cordon after activists occupied an area near the front entrance of Holy Road. That is in Scotland. Well, and then in another related story, that's not related, a 14-year-old boy is in court over teenagers stabbing murder. Alfie Lewis was stabbed near a primary school in Hotspot, Leeds on Tuesday afternoon. Now, to the final story. A row has erupted over Home Secretary Suella Braverman's attack on the Metropolitan Police for its handling of pro-Palestinian protests. In writing in the Times, Ms. Braverman accused the force of applying a double standard to its policing of protests. Now, she claimed aggressive right-wing protesters were rightly met with a stern response, while pro-Palestinian mobs were largely ignored. Her comments have been condemned by former police officers and MPs. The Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is facing calls to sack Ms. Braverman, with Labour accusing the Home Secretary of undermining police independence and deliberately creating division. One senior Conservative MP, the Home Secretary, said the Home Secretary's awfulness is now a reflection on the Prime Minister. Keeping her in post is damaging him. But the Home Secretary's allies on the right of the Conservative Party have defended her and argued that a pro-Palestinian march planned for Saturday in central London should not have been allowed to go ahead. The Conservative MP, Daniel Kruger, denied Ms. Braverman was interfering and said she was entitled to comment on the broader culture of the police. Now, Ms. Braverman's comment comes after Prime Minister Rishi Sunak held a meeting with Met Police Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley to discuss security ahead of a pro-Palestinian march taking place this Saturday, which is also Armistice Day. Neither Mr. Sunak or Ms. Braverman have publicly called for the police to ban Saturday's march, but the Prime Minister had argued organizers to call it off, saying the choice of the date was provocative and disrespectful. In an article for the Times, the Home Secretary claimed there was a perception that senior officers play favorites when it comes to protesters. The Home Secretary said the pro-Palestinian marches, which began last month in response to Israel's siege of Gaza, had been problematic because of violence around the fringes, as well as high offensive chants, protesters and high offensive chants, posters and stickers. Now, right-wing and national protesters who engage in aggression are rightly met with a stern response, yet pro-Palestinian mobs displaying almost identical behavior are largely ignored, even when clearly breaking the law, she wrote. Information coming through said Mr. Sunak's team suggested amendment to the Home Secretary's draft, but not all of them were applied to the eventual article published last night. A government source has said, "We are not commenting on internal processes." There have been regular protests in London after Hamas gunmen launched an unprecedented assault on Israel from Gaza Strip on the 7th of October, killing more than 1,400 people and taking more than 200 hostages. Israel has been carrying out strikes on Gaza since then in response, and has now also launched a ground offensive. For more than 10,500 people have been killed in Gaza, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. London's police office force has faced increasing pressure to prevent Saturday's Palestinian march from going ahead. But Sir Mark said it may only be stopped if there is a threat of serious disorder, and that's very high threshold has not been reached. So he's saying, you know what, everybody has a right to protest, but plenty of the Home Secretary colleagues agree with Ms. Braverman. One government figure said Braverman's intention was unhinged. Labour Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper described it as a dangerous attempt to undermine respect of police for the police, while London Mayor Sadiq Khan said it was irresponsible. Alright then, listeners, this is why I bring the program to a close for today. Tomorrow, God willing, will come your way with another edition of the morning show. This has been Archie and Mr. Olayomi Koiki and my able producer Mr. Francis Guy, bring you everything I need to know on the Starr Radio UK Thursday edition of the morning show. As I did say earlier on, this evening exactly at 7 p.m. we're going to be having Vicky presenting the Property Hour show, and as I did say earlier on, she'll be having as a guest a rep that's the head of sales and leasing and marketing, Efua B. Owusu of Gold Sky or Gold, okay, one of the company organization who are obtaining that show, and then Anna Ejekum and Victoria Ejekum, co-founders of the Ghana Property and Lifestyle Expo and On Point Properties Management Limited. Well, it is all going to be looking at the topic Ghana Expo 2023 Property and Lifestyle UK, the 7th edition, and every year Star Radio UK has carried them live on this platform. So make a date with them. You want to own a property back in Ghana or there, or have a property, need management, well, get in touch or get involved in the program and you will not regret. And that is why I bring the program to a close for today. So until I come your way tomorrow, it's been me, Archie, saying have a top of the day. But for now, enjoy this song from Wuta, and it says Country Hot.
Hungry man say fix the country, belleful say fix yourself.